Aloha mai kako from the Kahilu Theater in Waimea on the island of Hawaiʻi. You're listening to the Hawai'i Radio Hour. I'm Mileka Lincoln, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Naka Nathaniel.
Aloha mai kako. On the program today, we're going to be talking about the ways we can keep our keiki safe this summer as we all head off to the beach.
We'll also hear Ike Kūpuna from a prominent Parker Ranch cowboy on a kalasani keakealani.
Our musical performance this week features a duet with Kumu Robert Cazimero and Kala'e Parish from the stage at Kahilu.
And we will finish with a mo'olelo from Kala'e Parish.
News, Ike Kūpuna, mele, mo'olelo, and more.
All on today's episode of the Hawai'i Radio Hour from Kahilu.
But first, the news.
Aloha from Kahilu Theater in Waimea. I'm Mileka Lincoln, and I'm here with my co-host, Naka Nathaniel.
Aloha. This week we are celebrating La Kamehameha with parades and lei drapings on multiple statues of Kamehameha throughout the islands.
There are many mo'olelo about the birth of Kamehameha, and we're not far from where that took place. The stories say he was born on a va'a, a canoe, crossing the Alenuihaha Channel from Maui, and that he was brought ashore near Upolu Point, the northernmost point on the island of Hawaii near Hawaii. He was later raised in Kohala. On Wednesday, there will be a parade in Kohala through the town of Kapa'au, the site of one of the many Kamehameha statues.
Here on Moku'okeawe, we can gaze across the Alenuihaha Channel and easily see Maui. The top of Haleakala rises 10,000 feet above the sea, and the bottom of the Alenuihaha Channel drops to about 6,000 feet. These extremes contribute to the name Alenuihaha, which means great smashing billows. And billows are these huge waves.
From shore to shore, it's 25 miles, but the seas can be difficult to navigate. They aren't so foreboding, though, that there aren't deep connections between the Hana side of Maui and the northernmost part of Hawaii Island. Today, we hop on planes to cross the channel, but there were and are va'a that regularly cross the channel. There are strong ohana connections between the islands.
So there's a new book set in Hana that's coming out this week. Sarah Kehaulani Gu has written a nonfiction book called Kuleana, a story of family, land, and legacy in old Hawaii.
Sarah is a former reporter for the Washington Post, and she writes about her ohana's Kuleana lands.
Kuleana lands are special lands here in Hawaii that belong to families that have long ancestral ties. However, many of those lands don't have clear titles, and the families that have been there forever, but they face problems, including Sarah's family. Sarah's ohana is presented with a tax bill that is beyond the means of the family. This is something that happens regularly to families throughout Hawaii with their Kuleana lands, and that's what makes her ohana's story so pertinent. Sarah's family struggles as an older generation gives way to their descendants. Many have very loose ties to Hawaii.
Sarah herself was born in California and spent most of her career working in Washington, D.C. She writes about the disconnection she feels to her ohana's ancestral lands.
So I've gotten a chance to read the book, and it'll resonate with audiences in and outside of Hawaii. The book is great for those living outside of Hawaii who are grappling with the issue of connection. Sarah writes very well to those issues of identity.
Sarah Kehaulani Gu's book, Kuleana, A Story of Family, Land, and Legacy in Old Hawaii, is available on June 10th, the day before Kamehameha Day.
You're listening to the Hawai'i Radio Hour at Kahilu. We will be right back after this very short break.
This show has been made possible with the incredibly generous kāko'o of the Richard Smart Fund.
The Richard Smart Fund supports healthcare, education, and charities in the Waimea area of Hawaii Island.
To learn more, please visit hawaiicommunityfoundation.org. Coming up in the show, our Ike Kūpuna segment with Ana Kalasani Keakealani.
I'm not being cocky or sassy, but people, time, weather, everything all change,
Mileka, now that school's out, there's hopefully more time for everyone to be down at the beach. We're getting ready for regatta season down in Hilo.
It's such a fun time across Hawaii as canoe clubs around the state are preparing for a summer filled with va'a practice and competition.
We are a saltwater people, and that's what we wanted to talk about today. how to get our keiki more skillful in the water.
Yeah, I have a little one, and I actually mentioned to my dad that I want to get her into swim lessons. He fully supports the idea, but he did crack up about it because, of course, when he was a boy growing up, there was no such thing as swim lessons. Everyone just threw their keiki into the ocean and figured they would figure it out, sink or swim.
I know, my dad was the same way. I asked him how he learned how to swim, and he said they just threw us into Hilo Bay, and we had to figure it out. He said that kids were always just around the water. There was just no formal swim lessons.
Yeah, depending on how or where you grew up, there was certainly a closer understanding of the water and our ways of the ocean, just of course as there is a closer understanding of the aina, depending on how you were raised.
Right. Well, today we're going to be working with our Hawaii Storytellers Fellow, Jillian Santiago. She's going to help us better understand efforts to make our keiki more skillful and therefore safer in the water here in Hawaii.
Jillian, you grew up here. You paddle, right? I'm curious, how did you learn how to swim?
So I didn't take any formal swim lessons, but instead just kind of learned how to swim from being near and in the water. I was actually born on Maui, so my parents would take me to Camp 3 in Kihei all the time. And I remember just loving to play in the waves. And when I say play, I mean getting absolutely pounded into the sand all day long. But I eventually just learned to keep my head above water. I also remember my grandma taking me to the community pool to teach me how to float and basic stuff like that. But never any swim lessons.
And that's not exactly unique for local families here in Hawaii.
Anecdotally, it isn't. I went down to Kauai Harbor and asked people the question you asked me. How'd you learn to swim?
My dad threw me in the ocean when I was 2 years old in Kailua. Yeah, buck naked, just there you go.
Ooh, I got thrown in the water by my grandfather. He was pure Hawaiian at Mount Kona.
My mom just threw me in the water. At Ala Moana Park, there was a ramp there, so we went out on the floaty, and then she took the floaty off and go to shore.
My dad just threw me in. Threw me in the river. Figured it out.
Yeah, I got thrown in the pool and I had to learn how to swim. Kind of drowned a little bit, but yeah, it worked.
My parents just threw me in the water and doggy paddle. That's how I learned how to swim. That's the only way we all learn, doing the doggy paddle. Yeah.
Every kid is pretty much they're just thrown in the ocean and they'll learn to swim. Within the first 2 minutes, they'll learn to swim.
Brothers threw me in the pool. I was the youngest of 9 kids, and they took care of me though.
How did I? Oh my gosh, that's a good question. It was right here in the harbor. There used to be a little white buoy there. All my friends just jumping in, and I couldn't swim, so I just jumped in. Okay, I swam and made it to the buoy, all good and all happy. But now I still have to make it back. And it was the dock, right? I think it's pretty much where I first got my confidence. It was right here in this harbor, because all my friends are, and I'm the only one, and I was supposed to be the cool guy, and I cannot swim. So yeah. Yeah, that was a hard question. Nice to meet you, Aloha.
It is funny to hear their responses. I think I might even recognize a voice or two, but there is a reason that we asked you to work on this story that's a tad more significant and serious.
Yeah, well, throwing kids in the water was once the way. There's a terrible problem here that a recent report revealed. Here in Hawaii, the leading cause of death in kids under 15 is drowning. I was surprised by info in the report. For example, if you'd asked me, I'd have thought most of the drownings that happen here in Hawaii happen to visitors. However, half of the people who have drowned here in Hawaii in the past 12 years have been residents. And to make matters worse, of those residents who drowned, more than a third were Native Hawaiian.
Yikes, and the Native Hawaiian population in Hawaii is just around a quarter, so that means
drowning rates for Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders is 1.5 times higher than for other ethnic groups. And it's worse when you talk about Kanaka keiki. There, it's 3 times higher. And over the past decade, that number has increased for Native Hawaiians.
You know, you'd think we're surrounded by water, so this wouldn't be an issue, that all of our little keiki would be water bugs, right? Carrying on that waterman culture.
Right, but here's an incredible stat. According to the report, Palekana Kako Makawai, Let Us Be Safe in the Water by the Hawaii Water Safety Coalition, it says that only 2% of second graders in Hawaii could get themselves to safety if they accidentally fell in the water.
Only 2%? That is not a strong number. Why is that?
We're surrounded by water, but there's nothing formal to get our keiki properly trained. Swim lessons aren't offered in school, and private lessons can be pretty expensive. While I was talking to people down at the Kauai Harbor, Uncle Maulili Dixon was down there watching his grandsons at paddling practice. I thought he said something that was pretty enlightening.
Yeah, we're finding that a lot of kids, even in Hawaii, are not familiar with the water because their parents don't have the time to take them to the water, or they don't spend time at the water. And I think that should be like a curriculum in school, because not everybody has the access to YMCA or something like that.
He's right. Not everyone has access. And as a parent, I know what he's talking about. Here in Hawaii, we used to have all the time in the world to be in and around the ocean, but it's tough these days. Multiple jobs, school, extracurriculars, everything else that ohana are juggling. So this is why we sent you to the Hawaii Water Safety Conference on Oahu. What'd you learn there?
Well, there are lots of people who are working towards better safety policies and education. Part of the education is looking at the meaning behind the numbers. The specific drowning statistics for each island made me think about how the geographic terrain of each island is impacting these numbers. For example, on our Hawaii island, we had more than 100 drownings between 2008 and 2017. More than half of those drownings were residents of Hawaii, but we know there's a big difference between the Hilo side and the Kona side. On the Hilo side, all drownings were residents, but on the Kona side, where most of the drownings were visitors. So there are efforts to make visitors more aware of the dangers, but the place where we can make a bigger difference is with our residents here in Hawaii Island.
I know one person who's really been working hard on water safety, Auntie Shirley Dorego. Did you get a chance to talk to her?
I did, and not only did I talk to her, I actually sat next to her at the conference on Oahu.
For those of you who don't know who Auntie Shirley is, she's the founder of the Alex and Duke Dorego Foundation in Waimea. She's such a special mama. Her eldest son was involved in a terrible dirt bike accident years ago. He spent a long time in the hospital, but he did recover. Part of his motivation to overcome his injuries was so that he could get married. Then just before the wedding, he went down to a special fishing spot and took his younger brother Alex with him. They were fishing from the lava cliffs we have out on the Kona side. It was a chance to prepare for the big day, but also an opportunity to just spend time together. And that's when Alex went missing. It's thought that he fell into the ocean. There was a massive search for him, but Alex was never found. Later, her youngest son, Duke, was killed in a tragic accident. And that's when Auntie Shirley then started the Alex and Duke Dorego Foundation, and it has been dedicated to water safety ever since.
Before I sat next to her at the conference, I went to visit her at the foundation's office in Waimea. The office is packed with t-shirts and other swag that she shares with area schools. We started talking about swim education.
Hawaii Island has the highest drowning deaths in residents here, our island. That's because I think you're like, I know how to swim. I can swim. And you really know how to dog paddle. I think that's it. And in Ireland, you go pico-pihi, you go fishing, you go diving, shallow water blackout. So I think that's where our island residents get into trouble.
So Auntie Shirley says there's a difference between dog paddling and actually being a strong swimmer. She's trying to educate Keiki to be more skillful in the water.
I was just thinking the other day about how I learned how to swim. I got thrown off the harbor at Kauai. My mother was born and raised there, and we'd go down Saturdays, and my mom, my uncles, my aunties, they'd all kanikapila and barbecue, and we'd just jump off the harbor and the big tires with the barnacles, you're holding on to it. And that's how we learned how to swim. A lot of times we do that with our children. That's what I did. Get in there. When you don't really realize the different things of being in an ocean for a child, how to teach them how to float when you get tired, and things like that. Today, we take it more serious because, I believe when you lose a loved one, more so a child, and you come from a small community such as ours, it touches everybody. It impacts the community. Some people like that, they can't bounce back from something like that. I think it just evolves as you become a parent, and your idea of parenthood and stewarding your child is a little different from your parents. And so I think that's how it changes. you watch stories on TV of somebody getting hurt or things like that. And so you try to prevent it, and you never think one day it could happen to you. I mean, at least I never did. I never thought that in a million years I'd be put in a position like that.
So she played a very active role in Hawaii's development of a water safety plan. Hawaii and California are the only states with plans addressing water safety and drowning prevention.
We're the water capital of the world. We are the water capital of the world. I mean, some of the best surfers came out of this place. It's long overdue. The water safety plan is long overdue, but it's a start in the right direction. Yeah.
The lead writer of this plan was Allison Schaefers. Allison is a reporter for the Honolulu Star-Advertiser, and she lost her daughter in a drowning accident. Mothers like Allison and Shirley poured their grief into making sure other parents wouldn't suffer the loss of a child. It's said that this plan is actually a love letter to the children who were lost.
Now, besides the water safety plan that she was involved in, she has a book too, right?
Right. Auntie Shirley wrote Continue in Hope. It's all about the story of her sons.
Okay, well, I'm definitely motivated for swim lessons now.
Auntie Shirley is helping put on junior lifeguard programs down at Hapuna Beach starting next week.
Amazing. It's important to start early and stay aware. There are so many great phrases that we hear that are definitely worth repeating. Never turn your back on the ocean. When in doubt, don't go out. Super important awareness campaign. Mahalo, Jillian, for this very critical reporting.
Yeah, of course. I'm so grateful I got to report on such an important issue.
Later in the show, we'll be hearing a duet between Kala'e Parish and Kumu Robert Cazimero.
Aloha, welcome back to Kahilu and the Hawai'i Radio Hour. I'm joined by Kobia Kamu Moser for our Ike Kūpuna segment.
Today we get to talk story with Uncle Sunny Ke'Ke'lani, who is a paniolo legend. He was born and raised in Kohala and Pu'uanuhulu. He has been ranching his whole life, and it is a tradition that has been passed down to his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We featured Uncle Sunny in a documentary I directed called Hometown Legends. These were some parts that we didn't use in the film about how Waimea has changed over the years and the tough but beautiful lifestyle of a Big Island cowboy.
I'm not being cocky or sassy, but people, time, weather, everything all changed, attitude. And then, here we accept that all kind of people. No, that's the lucky part of Hawaii, We take care, we malama, we aloha. And lucky, we was brought up here.
When you were at Parker Ranch, Uncle, I was reading at the height, Parker Ranch had 500,000 acres.
The time I started back in 1975 was 225,000 acres. They ran about like 50,000 head of cattle. That's all, mother cows, bull batter, marketing and everything. Horses, they ran about like almost 600 head of horses back in those days. We had about 30 cowboys, 30 to 40. The ranch had their own fence crew, plumbers, electricians. Richard had his own cowboys, even his own breaking pen that where they studied the young horses and then issue out to the regular cowboy gang, We had 4 divisions, Mana Division, Keomoku, Mauna Kea was the main ranch, and Kohala Division. So 4 divisions at the time when I started. And we were proud we worked. Money wasn't at that time. Everything was all ohana, family. And everything was, we had beach areas to go holo, hunt. Today you gotta work 2 times for that. Before, no. As long as you had heart, everything was placed on the table, as long as you weren't lazy.
Yeah, you cannot be lazy if you paniolo.
Like I say, we get up like 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. We settle in horse over here in Waimea or whatever division, like on the west side. you be all wet in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. It was always like that with all the old ranches too, not just Park Ranch. We had other ranches like Puawa, you know, all the way down to Kau, Kalualu, all the way up Kohala Mountain, Kahua, you know. And then I'll decide on neighbor to Park Ranch, Kukai'au Ranch, you know. They were big ranches, not small. They were big. They was right underneath Park Ranch too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You've probably seen some of the most beautiful places on this
I
island.
had other places, but today you just can't talk about. You're not allowed. Probably it's private property. But I was very fortunate that I got to go to those areas, like on Mauna Loa, areas like from Keoho all the way to South Point, Kala'e. When I was down there, I worked those areas. The ranch at that time when we moved down for Park Ranch was 55 miles long. Then I got opportunity where I was born and raised in Kohala, Pukea, Puhui, right up, you know, and then I worked those areas right in the back till Pololu Reach, down Honokane, Honokane Ike, Honokane Nui, all those areas, and I was very thankful.
When you look back at some moments in your life, what comes to mind when you think of just beautiful moments from your life?
I was thankful and obligated that I got to go to all these areas. And every area I worked was different feeling. When I went Kau, that place is so isolated, it's very sacred. And then when I had Papa Pipa and Tommy Canio took me, because Papa was like the supervisor for Kalualu Ranch at that time when I was working Puao. When I went over there for Park Ranch, he was there. When I used to had it, and you know, he come with me, boy, I go holo, yeah, Papa, come on, my, we go, Kauliu. And then sometimes I no listen because he came from there. He was once upon it. When the ranch took over the lease, was our style went down. So sometimes he get mad with me, I no listen, he call me, you fart, you know, you pohi, or, you know. And that's right, you know, when you young, you cocky, you know, sometimes, you know, but I told him, Papa, we just got a home now because Park Ranch, but yet, you know, we, Makakau, like how you was brought up over here and know the area. That's what helped me when I was down there, because the area was big.
Tell me about chasing wild pee-pee.
Oh, well, like I say, you know, I mentioned Honolulu. That's where I first learned with my boss, Johnny Maderas. We live up the mountain like 3 months. We just stay up the mountain, it was same hermit. And that's all we do, just rope, lead, send market, come down, put on a truck. Before it's all truck, no more trailers like today. We made horses for rope outside. Our horses was different compared to today horses. We made horses for lead the wild animal. We roped something like 1,800 pounds, no girl, outside. You know, we had hounds about like this, you know, and we would tip them before the horses get gorged or something, tie them overnight. If we had something 1,800 pounds, we leave them on a tree for about 3 days, let them shrink a little bit. It would be much easier for leading. So that was all the lifestyle of the paniolo, how you walk the animal out of the rough country or hot country or whatever, no? You don't just rope them today, the bigger ones like 2,000 pounds and lead them tomorrow. They won't reach to where you want them. So we'll leave them on a tree like 3 days where they shrink a little bit, they get a little bit lahi-lahi. Lahi-lahi means light, and then easier for them walking and coming after us, you know. They would chase you, so it was good fun. And, yeah. Although we had good dogs too, so.
You know, everybody in Waimea and even outside of Waimea, your name is so known and respected. What do you want to be known for? Like what your legacy is?
I would say like the people who own things, place, house, land, like that. But you know the one every day with you know. Hi uncle, oh, pe anakala, oh, pe mele, oh, me kei. See, those are kind every day that you respect because ours. And then there are the young ones, I can name them to you. Jesse Hopai, Miki Ala, I think they will say, ah, pe mele anakala, ah, me kei. Oh, morning time when we were, oh, kakayaka no, aye. That's one of our old traditions that people when share like that, and I tell them, as you connect, you connecting from the heart, you know. And then when you answer, It's how you receive and accept, no? And then in the end, we all appreciate each other because tomorrow another day, if no happen, aloha no. But every day we make sure that our words that we connect. And then also, with all the ones in Waimea, they respect me, I love them, they know me. Like I said, they are the Ohanas, you know, like I said, the Assams, the Kanihos, the Yamaguchis, you know, all. Plenty Japanese family, plenty Portuguese family, the Quintels, you know, all the Nobrigas, they were good cowboys. They know it's just Hawaiian cowboys. When one Portuguese cowboy, Filipino, was all put together as paniolo, no? That's the part that, you know, hey, money no buy, no? And then like how you say, the people here, they accepted me when I came work Parker Ranch. They accepted my family, you know. We all ate the same food. We spoke the same language, you know. We played the same sport, you know. We drink beer, we fight. Tomorrow we hug each other, fight again, you know. But that's our cowboy life, you know. We were thankful. Not lucky, thankful.
I could listen to Uncle Sonny talk all day. The way he speaks is so beautiful and reminds me of the old days. Even the way he talks about his days working at Parker Ranch, I can only imagine what Waimea was like back then. I remember being a kid coming to Waimea and seeing just as many horses as cars on the road.
Yeah, there was the time when you could walk into KTA and there was not a single unfamiliar face.
That paniolo lifestyle is such a big part of Hawaii's history. And one thing our ranchers, no matter what part of the island or what island they come from, is that appreciation for aina, ohana, and community. Me ka mahalo piha to Uncle Sonny for sharing his ike kūpuna with us.
We'll be right back with more mele and mo'olelo in a moment. You're listening to Hawai'i Radio Hour at Kahilu.
The Hawai'i Radio Hour, and more importantly, the Hawaii Storytellers Fellowship, is supported by Kamehameha Schools.
Kamehameha Schools has provided funding for the Hawaii Storytellers Fellowship, a program that helps train, coach, and nurture Hawaii's next generation of trusted storytellers.
To learn more about Kamehameha Schools, please visit ksbe.edu.
Coming up later in the show, a story from Kala'e Parish told in front of a live audience right here at Kahilu Theater.
Ahiki I ka hope loa, e moana ku'u la hui e. When I was about 10 years old, someone once told me that the best gift that you can give is one you make yourself. I'll be honest, I didn't even like the person who said it. But that advice stuck with me. At the time, I didn't know that idea would lay the foundation for some of the most meaningful songs I'd ever write.
Welcome back to Kahilu. Last week you heard Mileka's interview with Kumu Robert Cazimero. You may have also heard Mileka mention a performance from his show, a special duet with our storyteller last week, Kala'e Parish.
Kumu Uluvehi called up Kalena to sing with him, and last week we had them in different segments of our show. This week, however, we feature them together. Here they are on stage at Kahilu, Robert Cazimero and Kala'e Parish singing Rainbow Connection.
Today is Saturday. We left Honolulu yesterday. I wish I could stay till Tuesday. On Thursday, I still hadn't cemented the show. And my niece, who I affectionately call Steffi, because the family knows her as Steffi, but everybody who meets her knows her by her somewhat professional name, Sky, said to me, Uncle, I talked to Kawananakoa. I said, what? She said, I talked to Kawananakoa, and she's going to be home in Waimea. She said, what do you think? I go, I would love to have Kawananakoa sing with me in the show. She said, okay, I'll ask her. And Kawananakoa said yes. This girl, she's so young, pretty voice, pretty girl. We had a Christmas show in Honolulu 2 years ago. And when I was talking with the guys about, we need a young singer in the show, somebody that's pretty vivacious, young. One of my guys, Zach Lum, says, Kawananakoa, now, of course, Mrs. Parish, because I like to call her that, because she likes to be called Mrs. Parish. Mrs. Parish, come outside. Grab that microphone over there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kawananakoa Parish. You come over here, honey girl. Yeah. And I told her, please make sure you wear your boots tonight. I just absolutely love it. So we talked and we tried to have a rehearsal in Honolulu. It didn't work out. So, yeah, I know, I got mine too. So we just had our rehearsal today. I'm telling all our secrets. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for coming this evening.
Oh, my pleasure, Kumu.
You're looking great, kiddo.
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you.
It's the boots. It's the boots.
Well, it's more than the boost. Is your honey here?
He's here.
Really?
At the top.
We're doing the Christmas show, and she tells to everybody, yes, I got married. She says, I married. You said, I married your cowboy.
I married a cowboy. I married into this life. I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. When we first moved to Waimea, it rained for 3 months straight. And I was like, why does he like it here? But once I got the right gear, and you start understanding that the water, it nourishes the land, and it brings us all these beautiful pua and feeds all our animals. And yeah, so I've married a cowboy, which I guess makes me a cowgirl by marriage.
You know what? And you look like a cowgirl, but a very high-class cowgirl. Yes. A local, beautiful Tita type. So anyway, I said to her, well, what shall we do? And she said, let's do this song, which I was so thrilled for because I love this song. It's not a Hapa Haole song. It's a Haole song, but it was done by one of my favorite people, Kermit the Frog. And when we went to go see the Muppet, oh, sorry, my voice. When we went to go see the Muppet movie, it starts off where you're in the clouds, okay, and you're like flying through the sky, and then you come down towards a bog, which is just a nice way of saying a swamp. And he's playing on a log. He's sitting on a log, this green frog, and he's playing his banjo. Okay, wait, and I had to get my words because I don't remember the words. Okay, where are you? Wait, I'll go and get them. There. Oh, okay, there. Okay. Make big, because I'm blind. Okay, you're not laughing because you know what this is like, yeah? I'll tell you. Okay. All right, so, you ready, Mrs. Parish?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side?
What's on the other side?
Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide.
No hiding,
So it's been said, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday you'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Navai e ho'oko i hu'ini, i kau i ka hoku au. He mana oko e nā iho ai, he ake ulu mai nei. Ono ke kiloluni, iho i ke aina ailona. Na kako e ike, the rainbow connection, ke aloha e pio mau ai, o kako me ke anue nue, na hoa e hau oli ai.
He oia i o ka nui i ke na i ku'i nei mau maka. He mea i o ka nui maoli a loko e hua e nei.
Not bad there.
Ua pili na mea a pau o ke a Someday you'll find it.
The cowboy connection.
My lover.
My dreamer.
And me.
I love you, Mrs. Parish.
If you'd like to watch Robert Cazimero's full performance on stage at Kahilu, head over to kahilu.tv.
You absolutely should. We'll be right back with a mo'olelo from Kalena's kane, Kala'e. The Hawai'i Radio Hour is supported by the Abigail Kawananakoa Foundation.
The Abigail Kawananakoa Foundation is dedicated to preserving traditional Hawaiian culture while empowering Hawaiian people.
The foundation is the residual beneficiary of the Princess's Trust and is her lasting legacy and ultimate gift to her people.
To learn more about the Abigail Kawananakoa Foundation, please visit kawananakoafoundation.org. Our last segment today is a mo'olelo, a story shared in front of a live audience on stage here at Kahilu.
Here's Kala'e Parish.
Aloha mai kākou. Ahiki I ka hope loa e moana ku'u la hui. When I was about 10 years old, someone once told me that the best gift that you can give is one you make yourself. I'll be honest, I didn't even like the person who said it. But that advice stuck with me. At the time, I didn't know that idea would lay the foundation for some of the most meaningful songs I'd ever write. The first time I wrote a song that really hit me, where I thought, dang, I can write good songs. It was my first single as a solo artist with a song called Island Life. Wake into warm sunrise, or the sunset on an evening drive. Sea breeze on an open coast, that's what I love the most. Rolling hills, beautiful skies, island life. But being a great songwriter isn't about writing one good song. It's about doing it again and again. A one-hit wonder doesn't make you great. So I kept writing, chasing songs that meant something, songs that felt bigger than me. And then in 2019, that song came. That was the year of one of the most powerful stands on Mauna Kea. I remember watching everything unfold on social media, but the moment that truly lit a fire in me was when the elderly, the kūpuna, at the forefront of the stand getting arrested. I felt so much sadness, so much anger. I couldn't sit still, pacing back and forth, wanting to be there. I needed to be there. I kept thinking, if one day my kids ask me, where was I when this happened? What will I say? I knew that I needed to be able to tell them that I went. I was there. You know, I've harvested and hunted on that mountain for years with my ohana. That mountain actually gave to me, helped me feed my family, inspire songs, and heal me. It was pulling at me so strongly, even if it was just to be present, not knowing that just showing up would eventually lead to a powerful song. So I booked a flight, landed, grabbed some pillows and blankets from Walmart, and headed up the mountain. I didn't even know how long I'd stay. I just knew I had to go. That next morning, brushing my teeth in the freezing cold, I saw the sun start to rise over the mauna. And when I looked up, I saw a sea of people standing together and facing the sun. E alae, hundreds of voices and people in unison. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever witnessed. I'll never forget that feeling. Complete awe, silence, unity, strength. When I flew back to Oahu, that image wouldn't leave me. I can still see it in my memory today, so clear. That night, I had a dream. I saw that same moment, everyone greeting the sun, but this time, I could hear these lyrics and a melody. I could hear a voice. No one was singing in my dream, but I could hear them. I woke up and I grabbed my phone and I immediately started typing out what I heard. It took me a second to realize, but these words were coming from me. Felt as if this song was being given to me. But I questioned, what do I do with it? The next day I picked up my guitar and I started writing what would become the chorus of a song called We Are a Voice. And I kept the song to myself. I didn't tell anyone. A week later, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, was invited to contribute to a project called Kahilu, a song that will become part of a 17-track compilation of original songs inspired by the stand for Mauna Kea. Without knowing I had written anything, she told the producers, save us a spot, we'll submit a track this week. 1 week to write, produce, and finish a song going on an album for one of the biggest moments in Native history of our time. So she came home, looked me dead in the eye, and said she was planning to write a song for Mauna Kea with her siblings. You know, I was just a little bit offended that she didn't include me. A little bit. A lot. So I told her, oh, that easy, right? Write a song for our sacred mountain. Yeah, right. It's something you got to feel and experience. You know, I was talking a little bit of smack. I was like, you know what, wait. Go take a shower, and when you come back, I'll have a song for you. She rolled her eyes, thinking, this lipa. When she came out, I sang her the first verse and chorus of We Are a Voice. And she cried. It wasn't until that point that I realized it could possibly be more. That's when I knew it wasn't just a song anymore. It was something bigger. I recorded the rough version on my phone and I flew out to California the next day. My wife sent the demo to her siblings, but told them she had written the song, just to make sure they would give it a chance. All without me knowing, so in short, she stole it. Me and her still laugh about it today. Moral of the story, be careful who you're sharing your bed with. From there, the song took on a life of its own. We had a close friend help translate the bridge to tie it all together. Ahiki iko hope loa, e moana ku'ula huie. Until the very last of us, my people will endure. I still get chicken skin when I say those words like I am now. We brought in 12 teen choir students to sing on the bridge and final choruses, really symbolizing the unity power for the next generation. The song was selected as the 18th track on that album. Our musical gift to Mauna Kea, joining songs, relaying the emotions, and a timestamp in history. And years later, the song was translated, and that song was named Hawaiian Single of the Year at the 2024 Nahoku Hanohano Awards. But long before accolades, I knew that song was something different. It felt given. It didn't come from me. It came through me. We Are a Voice has been heard in many places across the world, New Zealand, Japan, and more. And not just sung by me or my wife, but it's been sung overseas by choirs and danced by some of the best hula dancers. You know, there's something incredible about a song when your heroes come up to you and say, that song, I love that song. Then I remember that young boy being told that the best gift you give someone is something you can make yourself. A seed that was planted years ago to create something meant for something bigger, more than yourself, bigger than a mountain even. That's the power of a song sometimes. And I've come to realize that the greatest gift you can give is also sometimes one you never expected to receive. And since my wife was blessed enough to steal this song from me, I'm going to ask her to come up and play it with me.
the sun, greeted by a people who stand in unison. From the highest slopes to the ocean side, praising our families on this land that provides. Where can you feel aloha around? It's standing beside you on this sacred ground. Clouds roll in while the waters fall, but there's too much to lose, so we'll answer the call. 'Cause there is a voice in you and I that travels the earth and reaches the sky. We will be heard until the last of us. We cannot lose this fight, 'cause we are a voice. We are the children who have come alive. We are a voice. We have been searching to find a better way. So many people showing love, lead the way. If you take what's left, what else will be yours? There's only one earth and millions of stars. Oh, 'cause there is a voice in you and I that travels the earth and reaches the sky. We will be heard until the last of us. We cannot lose this fight, 'cause we are a voice. We are the children who have come alive. We are a voice. Ahiki ka hopeloa, e moana kula huie. Ahiki ka hopeloa, e moana kula huie. 'Cause there is a voice in you and I that travels the earth and reaches the sky. We will be heard until the last of us. We cannot lose this fight. Ileo no kaua, ileo kūpuna imo, lohei ane, ileo hope, paioli kemo, ileo aloha, na pua i e olamo, ileo kako. E moana kula huie, ahiki ka hopeloa. E moana kula huie.
My name is Kala'e Parish, and I am from Waimea.
Support for the Ike Kūpuna and the Mo'olelo portions of the Hawai'i Radio Hour comes from Kate Bell and Tom Blackburn of the Deviants from the Norm. Without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. We will return in a moment. Be sure to follow us on social media at Hawai'i Radio Hour. Look for us on Instagram and YouTube.
And if you'd like to re-listen to the show, you can also find us by searching for Hawai'i Radio Hour on Spotify and other podcast outlets. Mahalo for listening.
We want to mahalo everyone who made this show possible, especially Uncle Sonny Keakealani, Robert Cazimero in Kalena Parish, and Kala'e Parish for getting in front of the microphone. And behind the scenes, we want to mahalo all the amazing people at Kahilu. A special mahalo to our Hawai'i Storytellers Fellows. Jillian Santiago did a great job reporting, and we appreciate Mahealani DuPont for helping produce this week's show. And a tip of our papale paniolo to Jody Brotman and Mike Bennett. And if you're away from the islands but don't want to miss out on performances at Kahilu, you can find shows on Kahilu TV. You can stream Robert Cazimero's full show. Go to kahilu.tv. And we'd love to hear from you. Drop us an email or send us a voice memo to aloha@hawaiiradiohour.com. Again, that's aloha@hawaiiradiohour.com. Next week, our Hawaii Storytellers Fellows are going to be bringing us stories about how cuts in Washington are affecting people here in Hawaii. Here on the show, we say, e ho'olohe I ko kako moku, listen to our island home. So as we leave you, we're going to be listening to the sounds of Papakolea, Green Sands Beach down in Ka'u.
E ho'olohe I ko kako moku.
A hui ho and aloha.